Hi, I'm Pete, and welcome to Just a Few Acres Farm. The weather forecast is often the case this time of year. It's cold and dreary. I guess it might snow this afternoon. There are lots of things to do when it's cold and dreary. One of them is cut wood, and I'd like to get this big walnut log chunked up today. This is the only chainsaw I own. It's a Husqvarna 455 Rancher. I've had it for about 15 years. I have run a lot of firewood through this saw. All I've ever done to it is normal maintenance. I've replaced the bar once. Starts on the third pull every time when it's cold. Starts on the first pull every time when it's warm. Clamp her up to sharpen the chain. The bar on the saw is 18 inches long. Lots of tools and methods out there for sharpening chains. I prefer the simple way. I mark a tooth with grease, put on a heavy leather glove, and then just use the glove to hold the chain. And this chain's got a 25-degree angle this way and a 10-degree angle up this way. And I look at the shape of the gullet on the tooth to make sure it's got some sweep in it so that it'll bite and clear chips. With the saw oriented in this direction, I'm sharpening just the teeth that have a face that's away from the file. So this tooth and this tooth's where I am. I haven't sharpened this one yet. Gotta get those gullets right. My grease tooth is coming back around, so I know I've made a complete circuit. Flip her around. Then sharpen the opposite teeth. I have 4 or 5 chains for this saw on the wall, but I tend to just run one and sharpen it nowadays. And a chain lasts me probably 2 or 3 years worth of cutting wood. I used to sharpen a bunch at one time, but I found once I get a feel for how the chain is sharpened and how the rakers are working, I want to stick with the same chain on it. This part of each tooth cuts. Of course, this corner right here does the cutting. The gullet's more for chip removal and to sweep chips out. The raker here is what sets the depth of how far this point will cut in, because this raker will ride on the bottom of the cut before it cuts. And so I just eyeball these, and it's based on how the saw was cutting the last time around. And I know, based on how aggressively it cut, whether these need to be taken down a little bit or not. You want to balance on the height of this versus the height of this. If you cut this down too far, the saw will bite in too much and it'll bind the saw in the cut. So you want it to cut aggressively, but not too aggressively. It's just matched to what the power of the saw is. That's pleasant. swirly because of the knots in it. Right down there in the middle. That's where I missed her, right there in the middle. That wedge is pushing on it now. Where's my wedge? Where'd it go? That'd be really pretty made into something. It's got that greeny, purpley color. But I got no use for it. There's what remains. There to there. There to there. It's close to 4 foot. And I'll probably put stump killer on this and let it rot in place. stump's real dense wood, so I had to quarter it. It is really heavy. It's snowing, but I got all this cut up. It's kind of pretty, the snow across the fields. Good morning, ladies. Let's go in here because I got to show you something. This is the engine block for the International truck. Last week I went to the machine shop and picked everything up. It's all done. Block's all set. I got the crankshaft back. There's lots to show you. Here's the engine block. They hot tanked it, cleaned it all up, bored out the cylinders, honed them for new rings. Really cleaned up nice. This was the worst cylinder. Remember, number 6 was really rusty. So this was kind of his gauge cylinder as far as how much to bore. And he took between 60 and 70, I can't remember the exact number, 60 to 70 thousandths off to get back to nice, smooth steel. And then, of course, bored all the other ones at that diameter as well. Let me crank it over and we can look at the underside. All cleaned up under here. He set the main bearing caps into place. New camshaft bearings. We had a snafu on that. I ordered what was supposed to fit from eBay, new old stock. Turns out only the end ones fit. So he found a Federal Mogul number and went looking for that on eBay, found the Federal Mogul number, and then wound up with the correct set. Here's the crankshaft, got ground and polished, and it was ground to based on what I could find as far as bearings for it. I think, if I remember right, I found rod bearings at 10 under and main bearings at 20 under. So that's what he ground the crankshaft to. And over here is something very cool. These are custom pistons, forged, aluminum, made to size based on what he bored the engine to by JE Pistons. The machinist re-rounded these journals on the rods. They were a little bit out of round. You can see the machine surface on the inside. The piston manufacturer's standard piston pin diameter, this thing right here, was for a Chevy 350. And it turned out that that diameter was only, I think, 7 thousandths larger than the original bushing diameter inside here on the connecting rod. So the machinist just honed out the existing bushings in the pin bearings here at the end of the rod so that it would fit the standard size Chevy piston pin diameter. Underneath the pistons is the head that I got back from David Richards, all ready to go. And of course the bottom of that he trued up, he planed it. And the piston pin to piston top dimension is the same, so I'm going to have pretty much the same compression on the engine after it's rebuilt, the same compression ratio, minus that 10 or 20 thousandths at the most that Dave took off of the head surface. So the only extra horsepower I'll get is from these. Because they're racing pistons, right? That's extra horsepower. And of course I'll have a little bit of extra displacement because of this increase in bore size. The machine shop that did this work is Precision Crankworks in Windsor, New York. They're a little over an hour away from me. I couldn't recommend them more highly. The owner, Don Keekle, was awesome to work with. It's a small shop, 1 or 2 men. He'll never see this video probably. He's not a computer guy, but he did great work. And I'm all set to put this back together, minus I have bottom end gaskets on order. They should be here in about 3 days. I have the top end gaskets. I have all the bearings. So we're going to go ahead and put it together here in a week or so after the gaskets come back. And then, like I said before, the engine will probably get parked in a corner until the new shop is ready. Then I'll pull the truck in and we can do the rest of the work in there. What I'd like to do today is get these big chunks of firewood in the woodshed, split up and in the woodshed. Nothing warms you like firewood, and it's pretty cold today. First we need the firewood carrier, Super C. It's kind of bumpy in here. And then we need the firewood loader for the big pieces. Good thing this has got glow plugs. Well, it's going to take more than one shot this morning. There we go, a load of big chunks. This is the 5th load of firewood we've taken out of here, and we still got probably half a load of smaller stuff to follow. So most of a heating season's worth out of these 2 trees. This old engine knows it's cold.
are some big hunks.
Yeah.
We're definitely ahead of the game on firewood this year, and that feels good. Firewood in the shed, and hay in the barn, and food in the pantry, those are all forms of insurance that you can lay your hands on. It feels really good. The shop pad is pretty much clear now, beside for a little bit of quick cleanup we have to do, and then it's time to strip topsoil. The ground has turned crunchy with the cold, so I don't know when I'm going to get to that. And we have cold weather in the forecast coming up next week. We've got snow in the forecast next week, so I may be heading into the shop pretty soon to get started on that engine and the Farmall 856. But right now, I'm going in to watch some college football and relax by the wood stove. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.